Toxic people. We all like to believe the best in people. Unfortunately, that can get us into trouble sometimes. Toxic people do exist, and chances are you've met one or two. Sometimes, they may not be aware that they're causing harm to others, but sometimes, they're fully aware of their power they hold over people and actively decide to hurt them. Luckily, there are warning signs you can look out for to see if the person you're dealing with is a toxic person. Here are 6 warning signs that you're dealing with someone toxic. Number 1. Toxic people will play the victim. Most of us will do this to ourselves every once in a while. Bad things happen, and sometimes we just want to feel sad about it. But sooner or later, we snap out of it, focus on finding solutions, and look on the brighter side of life. Other people are in a constant state of playing the victim. You probably know or have known a person who thought the world and everybody in it were out to get them. People who struggle with the victim mentality don't think they have the power over their lives, and they blame other people and circumstances for how unhappy they are. They avoid responsibility. Imagine you're walking down the road and you see someone struggling to carry their shopping. You offer them a lift home. They thank you for your help, but then ask if you could take them to the shop to pick something up they need. You take them to the shop, they then ask you for money because they cannot afford to pay for their shopping. They ask you to run them around and do things for them, and don't seem happy enough with the initial favor you're willing to help with. They make you feel guilty if you don't do what they want. This is an example of how playing the victim can give someone the power to control another person. They prey on your feelings of empathy and goodwill to see how much money, energy, and time they can take from you. Have you ever been in a situation where you believed someone owed you an apology, but by the end of the conversation, you end up apologizing instead? This is a classic victim attitude in which they'll flip the situation. Ask yourself these questions. Do you try to uplift someone when all they can do is put themselves down? Do you try to offer constructive criticism, but the person acts defensively? Do you get blamed for someone else's problems? If the answer is yes, you might be dealing with someone with a victim mentality. Number 2. Emotional abuse. Emotional abuse can be one of the most painful forms of violence and a killer of self-esteem. It can create scars that last longer than physical ones, and it's difficult to spot. It can leave you with depression, confusion, a lack of motivation, self-blame, and low self-esteem. You might be a victim of emotional abuse, or abusing someone you love without meaning to. Emotional abuse can be verbal, shouting, belittling, criticism, and accusing. It can also be subtle intimidation, manipulation, and the silent treatment. Ask yourself these questions to spot if you are in an emotionally abusive situation. Do you find yourself walking on eggshells around someone? Does it seem as if this person treats you like a child? Does this person constantly ridicule and disregard your opinions, thoughts, and feelings? Does this person make you feel responsible for all the problems in your relationships? If you answered yes, you might be the victim of emotional abuse. If possible, you need to distance yourself from this person. Number 3. Pathological liars. No one is perfect when it comes to lying. We might tell smart lies so we avoid hurting people's feelings, or lie by omission. Illogical liars take lying to the extreme. A pathological liar is someone who continually tells lies, usually in an effort to protect their image. They are masters of manipulation and have no problem lying straight to your face. They tend to be impulsive people with a need to impress. Their lies might not always have a purpose, and sometimes they might lie to you just because they can. Dealing with a pathological liar can leave you feeling confused, betrayed, and paranoid. It can even make you question your sanity. Sometimes, pathological lying can be a symptom of more severe problems, like a borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and depression. These disorders require professional medical help and can be dangerous when left unaddressed. Do you know a pathological liar? Ask yourself these questions. Have you caught someone lying several times? Does someone constantly lie to you about small and normal things? Has someone that lied to you expressed no remorse? Number 4. Toxic people seek to control. Some toxic people can be master manipulators, and they are smart about hiding their true intentions. Controlling people might want to know where you are and who you're with. They might be vocal about it, or try and control you in more subtle ways. In extreme cases, if the person is a narcissist or sociopath, they might be completely incapable of feeling remorse and recognizing their bad behavior. They may have learned such behavior through an unconscious drive called the repetition compulsion. It's a psychological drive to repeat the same traumatic events they experienced as a child. To a certain extent, The repetition compulsion explains why, if one or both of your parents were controlling you, you'll try to enforce control of your partner or children. Ask yourself the following question to see if you're dealing with a controlling person. Does someone need to know where you are at all times? Does someone control every part of your work? Does someone pull you away from your loved ones so they have you all to themselves? Number 5. People who don't respect boundaries. Imagine that you draw a line on the floor and ask a person not to cross it. However, instead of respecting your wishes, they cross your boundary just to see if they can, to test you, or to actually cause you harm. To properly function as civil members of society, some boundaries need to be obvious to most of us. Respecting someone's personal space, private property, and right to free speech. But certain people project their vulnerabilities and insecurities onto another person in the form of anger and bullying. They are incapable of respecting boundaries. They can't process their toxicity, so they deal with it by putting it onto someone else. A perfect example of this is bullies. Bullies want to push your buttons until you break. They want to step into your personal space, destroy your private property, and break your will. They need to make someone feel small so they can feel big. Bullying happens in all sorts of environments, not just school. It could be happening in your home or office. Check to see if you are dealing with a bully. Does someone constantly play with your weaknesses to pinpoint them? Does someone continue to cross your boundaries after you've asked them not to? Does someone intimidate you by entering your personal space? Is someone gossiping about you, or are they humiliating you? Number 6. Negative people. Everyone can feel negative sometimes. Picture that you're at home and a family member walks in. You're feeling happy and confident with yourself and your home. Then you see a negative family member looking around your house, making negative comments. The whole family might have been feeling happy and optimistic, but then that family member has the power to bring the entire family's mood down if left unchecked. When they leave, you are feeling low in mood, maybe angry or other negative feelings. Some people wish to share their negativity with the world, and it can spread like wildfire. Turn to your workbook. Are you dealing with a negative person? Check with these questions. Does your mood drop after interacting with a particular person? Does someone walk into the room and you immediately feel put out? Is there someone that can only speak of bad news and negative stories? Is there someone who complains non-stop? While watching this video, did you recognize yourself as a toxic person? Test yourself with the following questions. Do you complain to others and pick faults in them? Do you enjoy sharing bad stories or negative gossip about others? Do you expect people to do things for you and not offer the same support back? If you answered yes, there are things you can do. Try attending counseling to change your behaviors and be a positive influence in the world. So, in summary, if you've been dealing with a toxic person, try to do the following things. Maintain positive boundaries. Be assertive about your needs and values. Disengage from people who make you feel bad about yourself, and speak to a counselor. We all deserve to live in peace and happiness. If you find yourself in one of those situations, we hope you can take the necessary steps to reach for a more positive situation.